Hey everyone, this is Evolve Yoga 1. Welcome. Yoga is all about connecting the mind and the body. You just have to move to feel better and to get healthier. We're gonna take you through a bunch of different postures and series, and we're gonna give you modifications, starting with mod 1, which is the easiest, and work our way to mod 3, which will be your most challenging. And we have some people here to help us out. Our friend Ivan, he's gonna be your mod 1. So if you've never done yoga before, and you're really tight in your body, you're gonna look to Ivan.
That's me.
How you doing today?
Awesome, you?
Yeah, good. You ready to breathe?
I am.
Good. Even if you just sit here and breathe the whole time, you're doing fantastic.
All right.
Back here we have Ryan. How you doing today, Ryan?
Ready to move.
He's ready to move. So he's got these hockey hips, right? So if you're a little bit tighter, maybe you've done a little yoga and your flexibility is about what would you say your flexibility is on a scale of 1 to 10?
4, room for improvement.
Oh, sure. Awesome. So if you're at a 4 to 10, we're gonna go to Ryan right here. And then we have the beautiful Raylan. This is your mod 3. So if you're uber flexible and you were just born with those nice long hamstrings, you're gonna look to Raylan. She's gonna be your mod 3. All right, you're good to go?
Yeah, let's get started.
So let's have a great time. Again, the whole thing about yoga is practicing body awareness. So if something doesn't feel right, you're just gonna mod down. If it feels like you could do a little bit more, you're gonna evolve up. If there's any confusion about anything that you're doing, you're gonna peek at the tutorials where I'll be to help you out and give you more technique and information about what we're doing. All right, let's get going, you guys. So we're gonna start with a breathing exercise. The difference between yoga and fitness breathing is that we keep the mouth closed the entire time during yoga. So we're gonna start in mountain position, which is kind of your foundation posture for all of yoga. So bringing your feet just hip distance apart, your nose is pointing forward, and you're gonna reach your arms beside you, externally rotating the shoulders. And from here, you're just gonna practice closing the mouth and breathing in and out through the nose. So go ahead, close your eyes, and just start to move inwards and hear your breath. You're gonna rest the tip of your tongue just behind the top row of teeth, and you're gonna start to invigorate the breath by constricting the vocal cord at the back of the throat. So the breath sounds a little bit more vigorous. It almost sounds like you're snoring with your mouth closed. So allow yourself to get uncomfortable with the sound of your breath. As you stand here, you're actively pushing your feet down in towards the floor. And even here, you're engaging your core, so the navel is drawing towards the spine. Your breastbone is lifting up towards the ceiling, and you're hearing your breath come in and out through the nostrils. And the thing about yoga is that it's important that you can breathe throughout every single posture. Good, this is mod 1. Ivan, doing a really good job with the breathing. Great. And now we're gonna move into a series trying to keep this breath invigorated throughout the entire set of postures. So go ahead, open your eyes, and we're gonna reach the arms up overhead. And then as you exhale, a little micro bend into the knees, you're gonna hinge at the hips, scoot the chest forward as the arm reaches back. And then you're gonna pulse your chest. So you're gonna lift up, and now you're gonna step into a plank position. And we're just gonna hold here. So the idea of holding here is just to, again, invigorate that core right away, activating all of the muscles in the front line of the body, and hearing your breath. Actively pushing down into the feet, drawing the navel into the spine, and really pushing into the hands. This is your mod 3. And if it's a little bit too much, you're gonna drop the knees to the floor and just hold here, accessing all those muscles in the arms by really pushing the hands into the floor. Nice. And now from here, we're gonna scoot the hips up and back, and we're gonna come into that token yoga posture, downward facing dog. So go ahead, lift those hips up towards the ceiling. You're basically making an upside down V with your body, right? Don't forget about the breath, so continue breathing in and out through the nose. Now for most of us, our hamstrings are super tight, so we're gonna keep a bend into the knees like Ryan here. He's our mod 2. You see that the spine is nice and long. Good. Now the important part about downward dog, the fingers are spread, the crease of the wrists are pointing forward. Good. And the hips are lifting up towards the ceiling. This is your mod 2. Good. Holding here for one more breath. Great. And now from here, we're just gonna start to walk the dog. So we're just gonna start to alternate one heel to the floor at a time. Again, moving really slowly with your breath. So as you inhale, you're coming up onto the ball of one foot. Exhale, trying to release that heel towards the floor. This is great. And Ivan is breathing beautifully in and out through his nose. This is your mod 1. Great. And then slowly just coming forward into a tabletop position. So with awareness, come to bring your knees onto the floor, hands are underneath the shoulders. We're just gonna warm up the spine. So on an inhale, you're gonna lift your tailbone up towards the ceiling as you draw the chest forward, extending through the spine. Now, as you exhale, you're gonna bring the tops of the feet onto the floor, and you're gonna round through the spine, pushing into the hands. And now moving with the breath, so curl the toes, lift the sit bones, draw the breastbone forward, inhale, and then exhale, coming back into that spinal flexion. Really pushing through the hands, rounding through the spine, breathing into your back body. Great. And continue. The important part here is you're just moving with your own breath, right? You can take this as slow or as quickly as you want, following your own breath. We all have different cadence of breath. Great. This is mod 1, a little bit less movement into the spine, but still articulating from the sits bones all the way up through to the crown of the head. Great. And now just coming into a neutral position. So coming into that neutral tabletop position, we're gonna do a seeker. So we're gonna laterally flex the spine. So bring your right shoulder towards your right hip. Good. And then come back to center. And then on the exhale, find the other side. So again, before we move into this series of postures, we wanna make sure that all the movements of the spine are warmed up. The extensors, the flexors, and our lateral flexion of the spine. Good. And then just coming back into a neutral spine, lifting the hips up and back, coming back into your downward facing dog. Great. Once you get to this downward dog, we're gonna clench the breath. Take a big inhale. I want you to open your mouth and make a ha sound exhale. Good, and all that is doing is just releasing the tension around the jaw. So as soon as we close and grimace our teeth and make this scrunchy face with our lips and with our eyes, we start to hold all this tension around the jaw, which actually creates tension around the spine. So right now, see if you could actually take an inhale, everyone. Open the jaw, just relax. Exhale. And you'll feel the sense of relaxation move through the whole body. Great. And now looking forward as slow as you need to, you're just gonna step your feet forward between your hands, keeping the feet hip distance apart. Take as much time as you need to get there. Once you get there, lift and extend the spine, come up halfway, exhale to pulse. Leading with the breastbone, circle the arms back up overhead, big inhale breath. Exhale, back into your mountain posture. Clench the breath in between. Take a big breath, you guys. Big inhale. Let all of that go. Big exhale. Good. Coming into warrior posture, so we're gonna take a big step back with the right foot. Left knee is tracting over your second and third toe. You're gonna reach those arms up overhead, dorsal flexion of the hands. And we're holding here.
Now by dorsal flexing the hands, it keeps the wrist joints limber and helps minimize arthritic pain. If it starts to cause strain, release, let go, and then come back. Practice awareness with your body.
And then from here, making sure that the core is engaged. So making sure that the navel is pulled in. If it feels too much, maybe you need to modify and come into more of a mod 1. So we got more of a bend into that back knee, less distance between the feet. Good. How you doing here, Ivan?
Awesome.
I know it's hard to talk and balance. Good.
If this is difficult on your shoulders, feel free to lower them. Put your hands on your hips for less strain and more balance.
Good. Take one more breath. Ryan's smiling. Good. So the difference here between mod 3 and mod 2 is there's just less dorsiflexion in the hands. Ryan's not quite there yet. We're just gonna have less dorsiflexion in the hand. Again, using this as a benchmark, once we actually get that flexibility into our external rotators, one day we're gonna have those hands in complete dorsiflexion. Take one more breath, you guys. Big inhale, big exhale. Great. And now to come out of these, just push into that front foot, drive that right foot back to join the left, and relax down into your mountain posture. Take a big inhale, cleanse the breath, big exhale. Good. So mountain posture, we use this as a transition tool just to reset the body. So you feel grounded again, you find your feet, you find your breath, and then we go to the other side. So let's start to step the left foot back this time into that warrior posture. Arms are up overhead, dorsal flexion of the hand. That left foot is reaching towards an imaginary wall behind you, and those right toes are pointing forward. And the action is in the feet here, so really push your feet down into the floor. What happens when we do this is we feel this kinetic energy rebound through the body. So you feel this transfer of energy moving through the body all the way up through to the crown of the head. And the idea here is while we're holding this static position is to maintain the breath. So check in for a second, see where your breath is at. Notice if you hold your breath when the body is challenged.
If you do, let go and breathe and open.
Now again, if all this is just going too fast and you need a little bit more information, check your tutorials to find that exact technique that we're looking for. Good. Take 3 more breaths here. Big inhales, big exhales. Inhale, push into the feet. Exhale, navel to spine. So every breath is an opportunity for core activity. Take 1 more breath, you guys. Let me hear you breathe. Great. And then at the bottom of that exhale, draw the belly in, use your core, step back to the top, reaching your hands down by your side, mountain posture. Big inhale, let it go, big exhale. Let it go, Ryan. Ryan loves yoga. He's smiling still. This is good. Take a big inhale, big exhale, let it go. Great. We're gonna move into this pyramid posture. So starting with your hands beside you, step your right foot back. And the idea here is to actually have that right heel pushing into the floor. The left knee is bent. You're gonna hinge from the hips and just fold forward. Really accessing the backs of those legs. So if you have a little bit more range of motion, that left leg is actually gonna straighten. Yeah, that's it. And you're gonna hinge from the hips here. And we're gonna check in with the hamstrings. We're gonna make sure that there's no pulling in or around the knees. Good. So just bend that knee just a little bit. We never wanna hyperextend the knee. Good. So even if you're super flexible, as Raylan's showing us here in Mod 3, we still wanna make sure that we're not hyperextending the knees. We wanna always keep that microbend, keeping the knees safe and healthy. Find your breath. Big inhales, breathing exhales. Good. And then from here, we're gonna transition into a balanced position. So you're gonna bend that front knee, transfer your weight, and just move into an airplane position. Trying to lift that right leg up to 90 degrees. Dorsiflexing that back foot. So really drawing the toes to the shin bone of that right foot. And now find what's happening to your core. So keep drawing the navel in. Draw the front ribs in. Good. And continue breathing. So this one, Mod 1, looks a little bit different. We're just kind of testing the waters, right? We're kind of tapping that right foot up and down. Good. Just coming up for a balance and then pausing, lifting back up, dropping the toe back down. Great. And then slowly changing, safely stepping that right foot back to join the left, coming back into your mountain posture. Let's cleanse the breath. Everybody take a big inhale. Let it go. Big exhale. And then we'll go to the other side. So stepping that opposite foot back, driving that heel into the floor, reach the arms back, dorsiflexion of the hand. Start to hinge forward from the hips. And the idea here is one day that right knee is gonna be straight. But maybe today you keep that right knee bent. Check in with your body right now and really understand the difference between a stretch and a strain. If you're holding your breath, more than likely you've gone too far. You're pushing yourself. So make sure you can hear your breath while you're moving into these postures that are challenging our flexibility. So if we look at Ryan, our Mod 2 back here, he's got a nice bend into the knee that's just gonna protect the back of that leg. And the idea here is that action in that left heel. So really pushing this left heel down into the floor, getting right into the back of the legs. Good. There's this little bit of different angle in the hands. So we're not complete dorsiflexion. The fingertips are just reaching back and we're spreading the fingers nice and wide, opening through this whole front fascia line. Staying here for a few more breaths and moving now into that transition into that airplane posture. So take a little microbend into that front knee and the breath is gonna get you here. So big inhale, start to slowly transition. And if you're here and this left leg is just 2 inches off the floor, that's perfect. It's all about working in your limitations and just accepting where you're at today. This is Mod 1 here, so he's just testing the waters, right? We're just tapping that left foot up and down, balancing, good, at your own pace. Dorsiflexion of this back foot. Again, we're trying to keep those hips square, so rotate that left hip down. If you're in Mod 3, we're still looking for symmetry in the pelvis. Draw the front line in, lift the chest forward. Good. Breathing for 1 more breath, you guys. Great. And now coming out with awareness. So bend that front knee, step the feet back together. You're back into your mountain position. Everybody breathe. Take a big inhale and just let it go. Big exhale. Good. And we're gonna transition down onto the floor. So reach those arms up overhead. Keep your shoulders down and back and then hinge forward from the hips, leading with the breastbone. A little pulse here. Lift up and then step right into your plank position. Now we're gonna hold here again, just building some strength into the front body and use your feet. So actively push your feet down into the floor. Spread the fingers and push through the hands. Mod 2, there's a little micro bend into the knees. Mod 1, the knees are all the way onto the floor. And now we're gonna transition. This almost looks like a push-up as we come down towards the floor. So you're gonna keep your elbows tucked in towards the ribs. You're gonna lower the chest to the floor. From here, we're gonna come into an upward dog. So all 10 toenails are on the floor, back of the neck is long. Push into 10 toes, push into the hands. And now into downward dog. So use your core, draw your belly in, lift the hips up and back, and slowly transition into that upside down V position. Great, once you get here, let's cleanse the breath. Take a big inhale, big exhale, let it go. We're gonna come forward back into your plank position. I'm gonna move this time all the way down towards the floor and practice this cobra. So fantastic movement for the back body. Slowly lower all the way down towards the floor. From here, you're gonna reach your arms beside you, like airplane wings. Reach those thumbs up towards the ceiling, spread the fingers, and now practice lifting the toes and the hands up off the floor. Again, really getting into that back line, squeezing the shoulder blades together, reaching the toes back, thinking of that whole posterior chain completely active, from the calves to the hamstrings, to the glutes, to the muscles between the shoulder blades. And again, with mod 3 here, she's got a little bit more extension. The back of the neck stays long. Tuck your chin just a little bit. Good, and you're actively pushing your hip bones down into the floor, making sure the navel is pulled in. Now, mod 1, we're still getting these extensors working,
Keeping his legs on the ground while moving his torso up and down.
squeezing the shoulder blades together. This is awesome. And exhale. Great, and then again, coming out of these with a lot of awareness. So slowly lower everything back down towards the floor. Good, and just push up onto your hands and your knees. Cleanse the breath here. Take a big inhale, let it go, exhale. Really move these postures with a lot of awareness, focusing on alignment.
And when we learn to align the body,
We're able to practice things more safely in terms of our day-to-day activities and into the rest of our Evolve programming. So slowly come down to lie on your back. So come onto your right hip and come to lie on your back. And we're gonna practice some extension movements here. So coming into that bridge position, bend your knees, lower down towards the floor, palms face up to the ceiling. And then you're gonna leave your hands down on the floor and start to lift your hips up towards the height of your knees. From here, we're really accessing that back line. So we're working the posterior chain by pushing your feet down into the floor. We're activating the backs of the legs, the hamstrings. Good, and again, making sure the toes are pointing straight forward. So Raylan, bring your feet a little closer together. It's hard to see, but you're always trying to maintain this posture alignment. So the second and third toe are always in line with your knee and the hip bone. So that's the alignment that you're going for. And then think about lifting your tailbone up towards the ceiling. And now push into your back body. Spread the fingers and push into the backs of the hands. This is great. And now this is a fantastic exercise, not only for strengthening those extensors in our back line, but it's great for our breath. We're keeping the navel pulled in slightly, so the breath is forced into our thoracic wall. And by doing this, we start to vibrate our breath on what we call the thymus gland. Our thymus gland lives on our thoracic wall, and it's our gland for immunity. So if you ever feel like you're lagging in energy, this is a fantastic posture to do with this deep breath. It's invigorating all of the systems of our body. And this is our mod 1. He's just pulsing the hips up and down, and his feet are forward a little bit more because we're gonna assume the knees and the hips are a little bit tighter. Great. So if you're tight into your body, like my friend Ivan is, this is a fantastic exercise to do because we're opening through all of those front muscles that in our day-to-day life, from driving, from sitting, our body's in a constant state of what we call forward flexion. So these muscles start to get really tight. So all we're doing here is giving them the opportunity to breathe and open. So we have more vitality, more energy. Great, let's take 2 more breaths, you guys. Good, this looks easy, but it's challenging. Right, Raylan? Good, take 1 breath here and exhale. Great, and then again, coming out of these with a lot of awareness, slowly lowering their hips to the floor. Really need to cleanse the breath after that one. Take a big inhale. Let me hear you breathe, you guys. Big exhale. Let it go. Great, we're gonna stretch those hips now and get into our T-bend. So you're gonna pick your right leg up. We're gonna make a figure 4. You're gonna place your heel just below the knee where the quadricep and the knee meet. And then you're gonna thread the needle. So you're gonna reach your hands between that hole that you've created, and you're gonna get into the glutes and into the hips. Great. And this is our mod 1 here. He's leaving his left heel on the floor, but is still getting a great stretch into that right glute and into that right piriformis just by activating that kinetic chain, just by pushing that left heel into the floor and getting a nice stretch by pushing that knee slightly forward as he pushes his hands down into the floor. Good, and again, really using the breath here, noticing if you're holding your breath as you start to move deeper into the stretch. So go inwards for a second, hear your breath. Great. And now we're gonna move into an IT band stretch from here. So you're gonna release that posture, but keep that right leg lifted, and you're gonna bring that right leg all the way over your left leg, crossing your legs. Draw the belly button in, and now slowly let those knees fall to the left. Bring your left hand to the outside of your right leg. Make sure that right arm is out, shoulder height, palm face up to the ceiling. And we're just gonna get a nice stretch into the IT band. So those muscles that come from the outer side of our hip all the way down to our knee. As you inhale, think of the cadence of the breath. So think of the breath moving all the way up through to your clavicle. And now as you exhale, I want you to draw your belly button into your lower back. And as you do that, you should feel the spine rotation. You should feel the upper back rotate. Good, big exhale. Every time we practice this, it becomes innate. So every inhale and exhale is an opportunity for core engagement. And the idea is to take this practice where we're just lying on our back and make it part of our day-to-day life. So we're always breathing, engaging our core at the same time. Good. And now coming out of these with a lot of awareness. So as you exhale, keep the belly pulled in. Use your core to lift the legs back up through center. Uncross the legs. Good. And cleanse the breath. Take a big inhale. Big exhale. Let go. Let me hear you breathe, you guys. Big inhale. We want to open the jaw. Exhale. Great. And what we do to one side, we must do to the other. So pick that left leg up, make that figure four, thread the needle. So reach through that hole, interlace your fingers, and grab your hamstring. So again, if you have a little bit more mobility in your hips, you're gonna be able to reach all the way through the hamstring, but we wanna try to keep the tailbone on the floor here. So we keep the natural curve of the spine, and the feet are in dorsiflexion. Whenever our hip is externally rotated, we want to make sure that the toes are drawn to the shin bone. This is called dorsiflexion. All that's doing is shortening this muscle here. This is your tibialis anterior. So if you've any kind of knee discomfort or you've ever had a knee injury, this is the safest way to protect that knee. Holding here for 2 more breaths. Big inhales and exhales. Great. And now we'll move into that IT band stretch. So just drop your right leg to the floor if it's not already there. Pick up that left leg, cross your left leg over your right. Again, the core is in, and you're slowly gonna let your knees come to the right this time. If this is your range of motion here, this is fantastic. You need to go inwards right now, and you need to make sure that there's nothing happening in your lower back. Find the difference between strength and stretch. Good. So again, somebody like Raylyn who has more flexibility in her spine, she's gonna have those knees all the way touching the floor. She's our mod 3 and she's gonna have a lot more upper body rotation. Great. Take 2 more breaths here. Again, think of twisting your spine as getting rid of all that extra synovial fluid, those toxins that sit between the intervertebrate discs. When we release these postures, a whole bunch of fresh blood and oxygen races towards the spine, keeps our spine really healthy and plumb. Healthy spine, healthy body. Take 1 more breath. Great. And then just slowly coming out of this, draw the navel in, protect your lower back, bring those knees back up through center, uncross your legs, cleanse the breath. Take a big inhale, let that go, exhale. Good. From here, we're gonna move into supine chair pose. So you're gonna lie on your back, your knees are gonna lift up to 90 degrees. You're gonna reach your arms behind you and dorsiflex the hands. Now this looks like an easy posture. The hands come to the floor, the arms come to the floor. Great. And then what we're trying to do here is keep the knees together, and you're thinking of your entire front body moving towards the floor below you. So it looks like there's not much going on here, but there is. So you're really hugging your lower belly in, you're hugging the front ribs in, you're pushing your front body all the way down to the lower part of your spine. Great. And this is our mod 1 here. So this is great. The heels are on the floor, the knees stay a little bit wider apart. Thinking of squishing your front body all the way to your back body. Lots of work going on here, which means a lot of breath. The harder you're working, the more breath. Good. Great. Take one more breath here. Good. Just reminding yourself that some movement is better than no movement. All right. So from here, we're just going to go into a little spine roll. So you're going to release your feet down onto the floor. Good. And you're just going to grab your knees and you're going to roll back and forth on your spine. So get your 5-year-old hat on and just start to roll out your spine. And you're going to pick up a little momentum here, use your core, and you're going to eventually come into a standing position. Support yourself if you need to, eventually making your way back into that mountain position. Did you guys make it? Yeah. All right. So starting in mountain again, feet hip distance apart, reaching those arms down by your hips, dorsal flexion of the hands. So resetting the feet, resetting the foundation. Close your eyes for a second. Take a breath. Big inhale. Let me hear you breathe. Big exhale. Big inhale. And big exhale. We're going to move into a Warrior 2 series. So starting from your mountain position, you're going to take a big step back with that right foot. Reaching your arms out shoulder height, rotate the shoulders and reach those hands back in dorsiflexion. So the Warrior series is intended, again, to feel really strong. So we're really actively pushing into the feet and we're opening through the hips. So this is a hip opening series. We're looking for alignment here. So we're looking to make sure the second and third toe, the knee and the hip are all in alignment. Now that back foot, we just want to bring those back toes in just a little bit. And again, we want to make sure that we're micro bending that back knee, practicing safety in all of the joints. Again, this is a warrior posture. So you want to feel strong here. You want to use the feet. So push those feet down into the floor. Now again, if you have a little bit less range of motion in those hips, that right hip is almost going to point forward. And the difference here is that right foot is in less of a degree. So we're taking that pressure off of the hip, off of the inside of the knee. So this is where I need you to go inside your bodies for a second. And if you feel any pressure on the inside of that right knee, you're going to micro bend that right knee and turn those toes to point forward a little bit more. Holding here for a few more breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. So your eyes are going to be forward over the left hand. Good. Holding here. That's it. Good. And now moving into that reverse warrior. So we're going to take a break with the legs. So just straighten that left leg. Give those quads a little break. And then you're going to bend right back into that left knee. Now from here, nothing is going to move but the arms. You're going to reach the right arm down and reach the left arm up. Moving into this reverse warrior. Great. So from here, again, we're using lots of activity in that left leg. So think about your left knee reaching towards your left pinky toe. And now what about the core? Keep thinking of lifting that pelvic floor wall. So engage those deep core muscle groups by drawing the navel in towards the spine. And check in with your neck. Make sure there's not any pressure in your neck. So if you're a little bit tighter into the shoulder, you're going to have less range of motion, and your chin is just going to be angling up towards that left thumb. Good. The idea here is to check in with the breath. So as we start to challenge the body physically, sometimes we start to hold the breath. So see where your breath is at. See if you can continue controlling the inhales and the exhales. Good. Staying here for about 3 more breaths. In yoga, pretty much when you want to come out of the posture is where we want to stay. This is when the body starts to evolve and change. So just if you think you want to come out right now, see if you could just hold it for a few more breaths. Notice the reaction in the body. Notice if you start to get frustrated or almost angry. See if you could just take a moment, be grateful. You're here, you have your bodies, you're strong. Holding for 1 more breath. And then just coming back into that warrior position. Take a little break, so just straighten that front knee, and then we're gonna move right into extended warrior. So same leg, same setup with the torso. This time you're just gonna reach that front arm forward. From here, you're gonna look over to the right, and then you're gonna bring your left arm down as you reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. And the goal here is not to collapse into the body. So you're really using your obliques, those muscles on the side of the torso, to support the weight of the torso as we move closer towards the floor. So gravity wants to pull us down towards the floor. So you're thinking of a string or a rope pulling that right hand up as you actively push those feet down into the floor. Again, that kinetic energy is going to keep the body upright, keep the core engaged. So this is our mod 2 here. A little bit less flexion in the hip. Good. A little bit less turn of the neck. Good. Keeping the right side of the neck nice and comfortable and relaxed. Good. Staying here for a few more breaths. Where's your breath? Big inhale. Let me hear you breathe. Big exhale. Again, go to your tutorials. If all of this was too much and we went through it too fast, go to the tutorials for the step-by-step. And then coming out of this with a lot of awareness and a lot of control. So just pushing into that front foot, come back to warrior two, clench the breath. Take an inhale, let it go, big exhale. Good, relax the arms down. Pivot that right foot in, so shorten the distance between your feet. Use your core, step back up safely to a mountain posture. Let me hear you breathe, you guys. Take an inhale, big exhale. Good. And now going to the other side. So step the left foot back, coming into that warrior two series on the other side. Finding that distance between the feet, right knee pointing straight forward over that second and third toe, arms out, dorsal flexion of the hands. Good. Again, check in with your alignment. Make sure to bring your right toe in just a little bit, Raylan. We're finding this symmetry. So the knee and the second and third toe and the hip stay in one line the entire time. And that's the awesome thing about yoga. We're using this as a practice to realign the body. And as soon as we start to find this realignment in the body, it's called symmetry, our body just starts to move more efficiently and we become less prone to injury. So think of your practice as like a rehabilitation program for your body. How you doing here, Ivan?
Fantastic.
Good. And again, if your hips are a little bit tighter, that back foot is going to be turned in a little bit more, accommodating the tight hip, and we're going to have less action in the hands, a little less rotation in the shoulders. Work within your limitations. If you feel like you could open up a little bit more, move into your mod 2. Let me hear you breathe. Good. As soon as you hold your breath, you've gone too far, so check in, make sure that you're breathing. Good. Staying for 2 more breaths. Great. So coming into reverse warrior, you're going to drop that left arm down, reach the right arm up. Good. Holding here. Good. So the idea here is to keep the same formation in the legs. Good. So that right knee is bent. Good. We're keeping the navel pulled in, and we're breathing now into those intercostals. So breathing into that space right below the underarm. This is an opportunity to create endurance in the body, right? If we think about our ribs as expanding on every breath, we give ourselves an opportunity to have more breath volume, which is great for endurance and for recovery. Good. Staying here for 1 more inhale and exhale. Good. And then safely just coming back into your warrior 2 position. Good. And then we'll set up for the extended angle. So just give your leg a little bit of a break. Straighten that right leg. Good. Bend back into it. And now move your body. So reach that right arm forward. Good. And then from here, start to reach your right arm down and reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. Good. And again, the important part here is to try not to collapse into the side body. So stay lifted. Keep the belly button pulled in. Pull the front of the ribs in and lengthen the sternum. Good. Raylyn is so chilled out here that her eyes are closed. That's amazing. Good. Again, actively push your feet down into the floor. Keep the legs really strong. Keep the torso really strong. Good. So this looks easy, but these guys are sweating. You're working, right?
Oh, yeah.
What happens when we hold these static positions is we start to get into those deep core muscle groups.
And though it might not look like it, the muscles are working surprisingly hard to hold us in place.
Good. Take 2 more breaths. Good. 1 more breath. All right. And then just safely coming back out. So come back into your warrior 2 position. Take a breath. Big inhale, you guys. Let me hear you breathe. Big exhale. Let it go. Good. And then safely coming out. So straighten that front leg. Heel toe the back foot in. Turn both toes to face the front. And just step back into your mountain position. Let's cleanse the breath. Take a big inhale. Big exhale. Relax. Good. So again, making sure you have the alignment here. So step that left foot forward slightly. Good. Look down at your toes, you guys. Again, we want to set this up so you're practicing alignment just in this foundation posture. So look down, toes, knees, hips are stacked, hands by the side, dorsal flexion of the hands. Let's go. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Big exhale, slight bend into the knees, hinge at the hips. Inhale, pulse halfway up, and then exhale, come into that plank position. Holding here just for a breath, take an inhale, and then as you exhale, lower down towards the floor. Inhale, come into your spinal extension. Watch the lower back here. Make sure you're modifying. And then exhale, squeeze the hip bones together, use your core, come into that downward facing dog. Take a breath here, big inhale. Let me hear you breathe, you guys. Big exhale. Good. So Ivan, just bring your hands forward just a little bit. If you're really long in your body, you need to have a nice space between your levers here. Even bring your hands forward a little bit more. This is mod 1, so we don't want to be really crunchy between the hands and the feet. Good. And then we're going to bend into the knees a little more. That's going to take the pressure off the hamstrings. Now lift the hips up to the ceiling. And you'll see there we get a lot more movement into the spine. So if your spine is rounding, you need to lengthen the distance between your hands and your feet, and you need to bend the knees a lot. Great. Setting up for our low lunge series. So look forward. We're going to step the left foot through the hands, and you're going to bring your right knee down onto the floor, reaching your arms up overhead, coming into a nice lunge position here. Good. Dorsal flexion of the hands, shoulders and external rotation. Good. Spreading the fingers nice and wide. Good. Drawing the shoulders down and back. So again, try not to collapse into the hips here. So even if you're super flexible, it's easy to just kind of hang out into the joints because the body has that range of motion. But with Raylin, we're really going to practice engaging the core and lifting out of the hips. Good. And then finding that alignment, so make sure your toes are pointing forward. Again, check in with that front foot. We're looking for symmetry. So the second and third toe are in line with the knee. Good. Arms are up overhead. It's like you're holding 2 trays of fruit up above you. Good. Eyes are forward. This is your mod 2. So even while you're holding these static postures, think about your eyes. So as your eyes are just looking forward, see if you could see everything you possibly can in your 180. And just notice if you're holding any tension in your jaw. See if you can relax the jaw, relax the eyes. This is your mod 1. Beautiful. Take one more breath. And now we'll move into that rotating lunge. So reach your arms out in front of you. You're gonna shift your body weight forward just slightly, and then draw your left elbow back like a bow and arrow, and then open your arm from that position, and then take a little peek over your left shoulder. So again, the idea here is to keep the hips and the pelvis symmetrical. So your 2 hip bones are pointing straight forward, and we're just rotating around the axis of the spine. And now really using the breath here. So as you inhale, I want you to push your feet down into the floor. And now as you exhale, draw the belly in and feel how much more range of motion you get in your spine. So again, we use this breath and this core integration to move and rotate the spine. So take an inhale, exhale, squeeze the belly in, and feel how you get more rotation in your spine. Do you feel that, Ryan?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
great.
look at that. Once more, take a big inhale. Big exhale, use your core to find movement, beautiful. And then coming out of this with a lot of awareness, so shift your eyes forward, bring your left arm back so it's parallel to the right. Take a breath in between, big inhale, relax, exhale, good. Coming into a hamstring stretch from here. So just bring your weight back into your right knee and extend your left leg forward. And from here, this might be a great place to stay. So right now you're getting a stretch into your hamstring. You're just gonna stay here. Otherwise, we're gonna reach the arms forward, dorsal flex the hands, and you're just gonna tilt forward, getting a nice stretch into the back of the hamstrings, moving into our runner's lunge. Great. Now again, if those hamstrings are a little bit tighter, you need to check in, really check in with the knee here. Make sure there's no pulling in or around the knee. We just wanna stretch into the back of the leg. This is where we really need to practice our limitations, right? Taking ego completely out of the question.
Here in mod 1, the knee is not fully extended with less bend in the hips and no dorsiflexion of the hands.
Take 2 more breaths here. Good. This is tricky. We're still challenging the balance, so really think about the core and think about your breath. The breath is going to keep you here. Big inhale. You're doing great. Big exhales. Nice. And then coming out of this with a lot of awareness. So slowly lifting the torso back up right to center, placing that left foot onto the floor, plant your hands, and safely step back to a plank position. Once you get here, cleanse the breath. Take a big inhale, let it go, exhale. And then we'll cycle through. So slowly lowering down, keep those elbows tucked into the ribs, chest to floor. Inhale into your full upward dog or baby cobra. And then exhale, push right back into your downward facing dog. Once you get here, take a big inhale, let it go, big exhale. So believe it or not, downward dog is a resting position. So at one point in your yoga practice, you're gonna feel like you could stay here for a long time. This is your mod 1, this is Ivan. Good, breathing and enjoying his downward dog. Good. And then we'll do all of that on the other side. So let's step the opposite foot forward. So step the right foot forward, setting up for your low lunge. Knee comes down onto the floor, reaching those arms up overhead. This is your mod 3. So there's a longer space or distance between the feet. There's more dorsiflexion of the hands. This is what we're working towards. If it's not here today, that's awesome because you have a reason to come back and see me. Good. Again, keeping everything active. So again, really pushing those feet down into the floor. Good. Eyes are forward. Good. Back of the neck, tuck the chin just a little bit and holding here. So the idea with this posture is we're getting a nice stretch into the front of the quad and into the hip flexors. So from all of our day-to-day movements, just sitting, driving, whatever it is that you do, most of us are in this position all day long. So we're really trying to open up through those front lines, opening through the hips. Good. Giving ourselves a little range of motion here. So this is your mod 1. Even in mod 1 though, see if you could spread the fingers. All of these mechanics in the hand relate to all of these different muscles in between our shoulder blades and into our pecs. Good, take 2 more breaths. Beautiful. 1 more breath. And now setting up for that rotating lunge. So just bring your arms in front of you, dorsiflex the hand. From here, you're gonna draw your right elbow back like a bow and arrow, and then you're gonna open through that right hand and just shift your gaze to where it will go. Try not to crank your neck back. Again, pay attention to what feels good in your body. And now we're gonna use the breath to move the body. So take an inhale, push your feet into the floor, and then as you exhale, draw your belly button into your lower spine and feel how that moves the upper body. This is your mod 3. She's gonna get lots of rotation into her spine, but we're concentrating not dumping into the hips. So realign your hips, come out of it a little bit. That's it. Again, go for accuracy. Make sure those right toes are pointing forward. And this is fine. If you need to readjust and reset up your posture, do it. There's no ego, there's no race, there's no finish line with yoga. The best thing about yoga is every day your body is a different body. So this gives us the opportunity to kind of go inwards and work in the moment. Good, take 1 more breath. This is your mod 2. Exhale, let's find a little bit more rotation. Awesome. And then coming out with a lot of awareness. So look forward, bring your right hand to join your left and cleanse the breath. Take an inhale, everyone. Let all of that go. Big exhale. Great, now setting up for the runner's lunge. So releasing your hands down by your hips. Start to stand on that left knee and the right leg is extended in front of you. Reach those arms out in front of you, dorsiflexion of the hands. And then you're gonna start to tilt forward from the hips, getting right into the back of that leg. Good. And again, work within your own limitations. Raylin's got these nice long hamstrings, so she's gonna find a lot more depth here. Try not to get so low. Keep thinking symmetry into the body. Good. Holding here, and now using the breath. So right away, I saw you were holding your breath. If you're holding your breath, you need to come out of the posture. You need to mod down, right? Check in, you guys. Take 2 more breaths. This is awesome. Are you getting a stretch here, Ivan?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Are you smiling?
Trying to.
Good. It takes lots of concentration, lots of balance. You're doing great. Take 1 more breath. Good. And then coming out with more awareness. So slowly letting the hands come down by the hips. Good, bending that front knee, plant your hands and step back into your plank position. And we're gonna cycle through once more, keeping the body nice and warm. So lower down towards the floor, take an inhale, come into your upward facing dog, into your spinal extension, shoulders down and back, back of the neck long. Exhale into your downward facing dog. Good. Once you get to down dog, take a big inhale, everyone. Open the jaw, ha sound, exhale. Again, big inhale, let it go, big exhale. And then transitioning down onto your knees for another awesome spinal extension movement. So we're gonna move into the camel. Again, with these spinal extensions, we're gonna use the core to get there. So I'm gonna be giving you a lot of cues to make sure that you're protecting your lower back. So we're gonna start in a kneeling position. Knees hip distance apart, feet hip distance apart. So just peek over, do a little shoulder check. And you want to make sure your heels are directly behind the middle of your butt cheeks. And then from here, we're just going to start to reach our right hand towards our right heel as we reach the left hand up towards the ceiling. And then you're going to lift out of your hips and slowly start to imagine coming over a barrel behind you. So we're getting this nice movement into the upper part of the spine. Good. Now the idea here is to not hang out in your lower back. So you want to think about lifting up and over so that you're not crunching into your lower back. You're extending, you're looking up, and you're breathing into that left body. Again, this is our mod 1 over here, and this is fantastic. We're still getting some spinal extension. We're getting some movement. We're spreading the fingers, and we're active in the entire body. Good. Take 2 more breaths here. And now to come out of this, come out with a lot of awareness. I want you to draw your belly button in first, protect the lower back, and then release that left hand, release the right hand, come through neutral. Everyone breathe. Take a big inhale, relax, exhale. And then we'll do the other side. So reach that right arm up. Good. Reach behind you, maybe for your left heel, maybe for your calf, maybe you're just reaching the hand back. That's fine. Work within your own limitations. And now I need you to go inside your body. If you feel any kind of crunching in your lower back at all, this is where you detach from your ego and you say, I'm gonna give my body a little gift today. I'm gonna listen to it, right? So if you're here and you feel crunching, you're coming and you're modifying, either into your mod 1 or into your mod 2. Same benefit, you're still getting movement in your body. Breathe here for 2 more breaths. Beautiful. 1 more breath. Nice and relaxed. And then coming out with safety, draw your belly button in, let your right hand come down by your side, and cleanse the breath. Take an inhale, everybody. Big exhale, let go. Good. And then we'll come into a child's pose from here. So bringing the knees wide apart, big toes are touching. You're gonna reach your arms forward, spreading the fingers nice and wide, placing the forehead down onto the floor. Once you get here, you're just gonna rock your forehead from left to right. If it's touching the floor, massaging through the front of the skull. Good, releasing through the neck. Good. Taking 2 more deep breaths here. Big inhale, let everything go. Relax your jaw. Exhale. Take a big inhale. 1 more, guys. Exhale. And then coming into final relaxation into your corpse position. So just coming back up onto your hands and knees, rolling onto your right side. Come to lie on your back. Good. Final relaxation. Let the legs fall open, toes fall open. Hands down by the sides, palms face up to the ceiling. And just breathe. Take a big inhale. Big exhale, let go. Big inhale, big belly breath. Big exhale. Just check in with your belly breathing. Big inhale and exhale. Congratulations, you just finished the standard Evolve Yoga 1 program. If you have more time the next time, try the extended. If you have less time, do the express. Doesn't matter, just keep moving your body. I'm Jana, and this is Evolve.